How we doing, gentlemen?
All set, Coach. Thanks for joining us.
No problem. No problem. Missed you guys at Pro Day this year. Hopefully, I'm trying to talk EJ into getting our local guys to come out and watch practice, even if it's from the balcony there, like the Steelers do. But questions?
We'll go ahead to Jerry DePaula. Start us off.
Pat, I know there's more to your program than what happens on draft day, but what would it mean if, like some people are saying, you have to get 9 guys drafted over that weekend?
That would be unbelievable. It's all about development in our program and developing players. Our coaches do a heck of a job teaching our kids, and we've done a great job recruiting. So it's a point of respect for our program and what we've done as far as players, and certainly you'd like to have a lot more Aaron Donalds, but we got a great group of players that worked out today. 16 of them. I was just as impressed with our 19 guys and what they did. I think it's even harder coming from 2019 and coming here a year later and doing a great job. I mean, Amir Watts was impressive, I thought. I think Amir Watts is going to be in a camp, but it's why you coach, to give these kids opportunities at the next level. And it would be a great credit to our recruiting department and our coaching staff and everything we do here at the University of Pittsburgh.
John McGonigal, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette.
Yeah, Pat, how was it having Jalen and Paris back in the facility, around the building, around the guys, and within that atmosphere?
It was awesome. Again, it was great to get every one of those back. Those guys are families. Family guys are guys we love. It's great to get Salim Brightwell, everybody back. I mean, I don't know how often it happens. I had a few scouts today talk to me about, they didn't, go to any other pro days and have the 19 guys have an opportunity to be at pro day. And I think that's the family we have. So whether they, played last season or not, whether they opted out or not, it doesn't matter. They're ours. They're our kids, they're our players, and they're forever Panthers.
I could follow that up with Jalen's 40 on the bench. Were you surprised at all by that?
Well, the bench didn't surprise me at all. It all depends on trainers. He's been away from us for a year. I can't say I'm shocked by it. I think it was a slow turf. I think if you guys walked out there, you guys could step on that turf and probably stand there for a lot longer during the day than you could in the past. So I think it was a slow turf. So I think anybody ran a 4.46 or 4.45 might have, possibly running a 4.3. So I think it was a slow surface because it's really soft. But it comes down to being a football player. I think the tape will speak for themselves. I know everybody loves to have the 40 time and the vertical and all those in the bench press. But when Jalen went through and ran through the defensive drills, the D-line drills with Coach Partridge and Joe Cullen for the Jaguars, he looked like that's what he does. He's a football player.
Good. Alan Saunders, Pittsburgh Sports Now.
Hey, Pat, two quick questions. First one is, how much do you as a coaching staff take pride in the fact that of these guys that are potentially or probably or almost definitely going to get drafted, that very few of them were kind of seen when they came into your program as kind of can't miss? You don't have any 5-star guys. You only have a couple, like maybe Paris and DeMar were like 4-star guys, but some of these other guys were a lot less heralded, and you've been able to get the best out of them and turn guys and put those guys in a position to succeed. And then second, how much do you feel like your position alongside the Steelers there helps prepare your guys for the NFL?
I'll start with the last part of that question. I don't know if the Steelers are going to help, get your guys ready for the NFL. It's nice to look over there. Sometimes I think it makes your guys start to drift towards, hey, I want to be over there playing with them instead of locked into what they should be doing. That's going to get you there. To me, it's a great scene. Coach Tom was my favorite NFL head coach. That guy's the guy. And happy birthday to him this week. But, it's not going to develop them. What develops them is our coaches, our players, and our system. And I think that's the important thing. And again, I've said this, every recruiting year, talk about, we got a great recruiting class and all that. Like, it doesn't matter. Okay. It's how hard are they going to work? How coachable are they? How knowledgeable are they? and that will take you a long run. I'd rather have that smart guy that's going to do everything the right way, and he'll play in the NFL because he does all the little things right, as opposed to the 5-star guy that's not going to do, all the detailed things right. But our coaches develop our players, and our system and our culture develops players to go to the NFL, and that's my goal as a head football coach. You'd like to win every football game, but ultimately you want to, try to give these kids opportunities. That's what's going to, carry them on for the rest of their life. So our job is to put them in position to make plays on the field, and then physically get them where they are, and developing them in the offseason. What Coach Stacchiotti is doing this offseason is important, okay? And do you see it that next year? No, but it's year after year after year. The development in the weight room, the development in those classrooms and on the field with your position coaches are critical. And that's what it's all about. And every day, we talk about getting 3% better. I mean, you get 3% better every day for a year, and then 2 years and 3 years, you've gotten a lot better. So those stars really don't matter. And all those recruiting things, that's why they call us coach, Alan. It's our job to develop football players. That's our job. And we're not always going to get that elite guy, 5-star guy. We're going to take what we got, and we're going to mold them. We're going to make them bigger. We're going to make them stronger. We're going to make them faster. And I know that's a cliche. We're going to make them smarter. I mean, we're going to coach these guys, and it's the fine details of whether it's a back pedal, a press technique, a blitz, a block up front, a throw or route running, or your ability to make plays with the ball in your hand after you catch it or run it. That's what it's all about.
We'll go to Amanda next.
Hi, Pat. The group of guys today, these are guys that you recruited, guys you've coached for the last 4 or 5 years. What does it mean to you to watch so many of them standing on the precipice of a professional career? And is it like a little bit more special just because you've been through the whole shebang with this group of guys?
It's special no matter what. I wish I was here for an Aaron Donald Pro Day. It's special whether it's for 1 year, okay, whether it was our first year here or the 6th year. I mean, it's fun either way. It's, you helped him get there, even if it was for 1 year. DJ Turner didn't have as productive a career at Maryland as he had maybe all of his years there together as he did in 1 year. That's our job, is to put him in position to make plays. And again, it doesn't matter 1 year, 3 year, 4 years, 6 years, which will be Trey Tipton, maybe 7 years next year for Trey at Pro Day. But you take satisfaction that you helped him get to that point. And it's Pro Day is huge. I mean, the sad part is the season ends, whether it's after a bowl game or after a COVID final season, and the kids leave you, okay, and you lose your children, okay, and then all of a sudden they come back for this day. And we had a nice lunch yesterday together, and it's just bringing your teammates, your players back, and I love each and every one of those guys, and to have them back is fun. And and it sounds like a lot of them are hanging out here for the next few weeks again, which is outstanding. It's like they're going to be here working out with Coach Stacchiotti, and that's what we want. That's the family atmosphere we have at Pitt. That's our guys, and that's what it's all about. It's awesome. It's fun to watch them out there today. Enjoyed it, and you're praying for each one of those last night, just hoping that they have a great day, and each one of them really did in their own way.
Jeff Hathorn, 93.7 The Fan.
Hey, Pat, obviously the numbers can be important for these guys, but how about those conversations you have with scouts and coaches? How much can that help a player?
It can help a bunch. They're out there taking notes, and, I got them before the whole thing started. They're not going to ask any questions because nobody wants to give out secrets. Okay. But the little things, the guys that take the time, the really good ones, are going to pull you aside, grab you. I mean, Phil Kreider grabbed me, I won't reveal any of the information there, but grabbed me. He was like, Coach, I got a question for you. Pull me over. Again, the guys that do a detailed job like Phil, they want to know everything. And again, anybody that doesn't try to grab the head coach's ear at the pro days, because I got to be honest with you, I don't get many phone calls, okay, because they know the head coach is going to, it's like anytime I try to hire a receiver coach or linebacker coach, everybody's got a resume, and then they have the references at the bottom, okay, or on the third page or whatever it is. And I never call the references because I know all the references are going to tell them good stuff. And I'm always going to tell people good stuff but it's all the inside little bits and stories. I'll tell you a Rashad Weaver and Patrick Jones story, And some of the scouts are like, whoa, I've never heard of that before. And I've never heard of it either as a coach, but they go down to the Senior Bowl, they call Coach Partridge a couple days before they go down to the Senior Bowl, and they're like, Coach, can you send us all the offensive tackles that are going to the Senior Bowl on both teams so we can watch videotape? They want to study the game. They want to study that guy. What's he do well? Is he susceptible to a speed rush, bull rush, inside move? How's his hands? Is he going to punch early, punch late? All the details that they've learned with Coach Partridge, they're now taking it going. I got that, and so it's all those little stories. Like some of the scouts, when I tell them that story, they're like, oh my God, I love that, because they're students of the game. And that's the important part.
Good. Brian Batko, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette.
Pat, kind of along those same lines, it's a unique year for the draft in that there were so many players who opted out of college football last year. I've seen some NFL execs say that made the Senior Bowl more important. I've seen some say, I think Kevin Colbert even said, if there's two guys that are close, maybe you go with the guy who played more recently. How many questions have you been getting about that? And do you expect to get more about that as teams just try to do their due diligence on players they haven't seen in a while?
I think they'll make their own determinations as far as who opted out, how to hurt them. I do know this, and we highly recommend guys not to opt out. I mean, it is hard to play the game of football. It's not like basketball. It's not like baseball where you can go out, have batting practice, and you don't need anybody else. You can hit it out in the outfield. We don't know if they caught it or not, but football is a hard game to play by yourself. Okay, you can get a pickup game and get Jerry and the boys to come play at your court, and maybe we'll go to Jerry's court. But it's hard to play football. It's a team game, and it's something you can't train for. And some of our guys did an outstanding job of training for the drills. And everybody's got a different trainer, so you just don't know where they're going and what's going to happen. But that's the situation there. So hope I answered your question there.
Good. Nick Farabaugh.
Hey, Coach Narduzzi, Damar Hamlin, when a lot of people talk about him around Pitt, it's also not just what he does on the field, but what he does off it. He's a leader. A lot of players mention that. What about Damar makes him just such a special player and prospect overall?
Damar is special. He had a great day today. I say he made a lot of money today, in just really every respect. But what makes Damar special is, first of all, I'll say his family, his mom and dad are supportive of him. They've helped him. They've raised him the right way. They've helped him and really just taking him, all the way to Pitt when he got here as a freshman. And, Damar is so smart, Nick. I mean, he's so smart. And to me, that's what makes great players. And I kind of start off by talking about the intelligence part. He is so smart. He knows what's going on ahead of time. And again, 40 time doesn't really matter. Your bench press doesn't matter. When you have knowledge, and we talk about it all the time. That word is up all over our building. Damar is a smart guy that knows what's going on. He knows what he's doing. He knows what the opponent's going to do most of the time, and obviously he's athletic enough and fast enough to go make plays. So he's just a tremendous person and tremendous student of the game.
We'll go to Christopher Carter, DK Pittsburgh Sports.
Hey, Pat, sorry if this got asked already. I've been juggling a few things here, but I wanted to ask about Jason Pinnock. One thing is you said, we were just talking about you earlier this week, is you put your corners on islands. You're proud of that, and he does very well. He had some very impressive numbers today. What can you say about his journey? You've seen him grow so much, and what you saw from him today, and how proud are you of him?
Yeah, obviously really proud of Jason, and like I said, everybody's got a different avenue and a different path, and we do put those guys on island, Chris, and you are the sharpest dressed guy today too, by the way. But I couldn't be happier for Jason. It's like you knew coming in the day. And again, some guys, testing is a testing, and football is football. Let's get that straight. So some guys are going to test really well. Some guys aren't going to test as well. But when you talk football players and testing, two different things. And like Paris Ford is a football player. He ain't going to test real well sometimes. And, again, the turf, whatever it is. But when you look at Jason Pinnock, I knew if you said, tell me one guy that the scouts are going to go, who was that guy? I was in the locker room with Chris Ash, old head coach at Rutgers, and now he's a secondary coach with the Jaguars. I said, we're kind of walking through the locker room there because he had to go to the restroom, and I said, I want to introduce you to somebody. Like I said, you got to meet this guy because you're going to notice him out there, and you're going to say, Coach, why didn't you talk about this guy? But he had an unbelievable day, but it doesn't shock me. I mean, probably almost 40-inch vertical jump, ran a 4.4, catches the ball well. He's a football player, and in the right system, that guy's gonna, that guy made some money today as well. And I'm happy for Jason. He's a super kid, and he's really smart too. Another guy that's really smart, and we all have our ups and downs during seasons, and we have our good plays and our bad plays. But that guy's a really good football player, and he's a really good student of the game as well.
We'll go back to Jerry for our last one.
Pat, you sort of, I was thinking of this question for a while, but you sort of mentioned it already. Who was the one guy today that had the NFL scouts running to you saying, Pat, tell me more about this guy?
Well, I mean, they knew about a lot of guys. I mean, so probably Jason Pinnock, I would say, if I had to say one, because they know who Patrick Jones and Rashad Weaver and Jimmy Morrissey. They knew about those guys that played in the Senior Bowl, were invited to the Combine, are all Americans. And I'd probably say him and DJ Turner, probably, the other guy. And I'd also say Amir Watts. Like I said, I think Amir Watts did some great things for himself. Those would be three guys that you got a lot of questions, like, tell me about this guy.
All right, we'll wrap it up there. Coach, appreciate
Anybody
it.
else got anything else? Don't let RJ cut you off. If someone's got, we don't get to do this very often, Chris. You know what I'm saying? Then we got
How's practice going?
We can't talk practice. 2 short stays, Jerry. 2 short stays. It's going good so far. I know EJ's probably gonna be mad if I start talking about practice because he's like saving that for another day. He's got his little plan. But we had 2 days of shorts. Tomorrow we go pads, so it gets real tomorrow. Everybody's got a plan until they get hit. But I've been impressed with a lot of guys. I mean, and again, it's tomorrow is hump day. Okay, hump day. We get over number 3 and we get to number 4. We're one day better than last year. So every day is so important. And I want to make sure our guys stay safe with COVID. And I saw Boise shut things down today. Or yesterday, we talked about the Ohio State shutting down for a little bit, and I don't know if they're back up and running, but I don't want to lose a day. We need the development. We need every second, every period we can get during practice, and I think that's going to be the important thing. So it's going well so far. We're healthy after 2, but we're in shorts, and the pads go on, and tomorrow will be fun, and we don't do much changing of the depth chart until the pads go on because. It's a real evaluation. We're out there trying to, evaluate off of shorts, and man, he looked good there. Tailback's running through clean. Nobody's tackling him. And our guys have done a great job of being smart and not trying to be the hero and tackle a guy in shorts.
All good.
Did anybody, there's some drills that don't necessarily really apply to what guys do. I mean, you got who cares what your quarterback's broad jump is or what your offensive lineman's 40 time is. But did anybody surprise you with something maybe outside of what is generally considered to be their athletic specialty today?
Not really. I mean, look at Jimmy Morrissey, I think had like a 32-inch vertical jump. I mean, it was kind of pretty explosive for an offensive lineman. I think he vertical, maybe hired some of the skill guys that were there. So that's impressive. But, the testing that, doesn't necessarily show up on the field. So I don't know what the correlation is there. You want as an NFL club and president, GM, and head football coach, you want as many great athletes as you can get. And, obviously all the testing will show you what type of explosive athlete they are. But I don't know if I answered your question, but there's just, there's so many things they look at. And I think the number one thing is watch them on the field, watch them play the game of football. When the ball snapped between the white lines is really what matters. And, this is, I talk about shorts practices the last 2 days. And then when you go out there, it's just like, it's a timing day. It's a finesse day. It's and it comes down to sometimes who got the best trainer. Did you have the best football trainer or did you have the best combine trainer? Okay. And combine results and football results are 2 different things. And the football results will show up in August and September for some of these guys.
I can make a question, if it's okay.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Coach Pat, here's Mateus from Brazil. It's a great honor to talk to you. Here in Brazil, we have a totally different football play. Like we are like amateur level. And during this COVID season in Brazil, like we basically don't have nothing of football. And how was for like the college, for the pitch, for like work with the guys, like all the problems that you have, you can go for the field, now you can. And how was all that process? I know that maybe you have talked about that like thousands of times. It's the first time and I can talk to you. Appreciate.
Bring all your good players over here, okay? Come to Pittsburgh. We got a lot of jobs. The economy's outstanding. We got great high school coaches. Bring all your young guys over here so I don't have to travel too far to find them. But it obviously wasn't easy. It was a challenging season. It was a challenging, summer, leading into this fall. But we're fortunate at the University of Pittsburgh to have some of the best medical help in the country. I think UPMC, which is, the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center here on our campus, here in the city of Pittsburgh, gave us a huge advantage. We were able to keep our kids safe and still play the game we love. And I think that's the critical thing. And I think it was rough early when you talked, June, July, and August. And I think our kids had a lot of question marks as far as what's going on. We're not going to play a season. There's no way we're going to be able to do this. And, as the leader and head coach, we were just persistent and got everybody going in the right direction. And I felt more like a traffic guard. And as far as just making sure, the masks were on, we were, socially distanced in our building, and we try to do things as safely as possible. And that's kind of how we were able to pull a season off. So it can be done. Some people do it better than others, and it just comes down to the details, and we try to focus on the details. Great
Thanks
question.
a lot, Coach.
You got it. Anything else? I'm here. You got me here. I see you got from Argentina. Quiet today.
Pat, I'll ask you more about DJ Turner because you only had him for a year. But he put up really good bench press numbers. He had a great year for you guys. He said he almost came back next year. He said, right, yeah.
Thought we had him back. I thought he was going to come back, but we're happy for him.
But just wanted to ask, what do you think that if teams are looking at this guy and they say, man, he only had this 1 year, what do you think he can bring right away to someone's offense in the NFL?
I think I had he wasn't planning on doing this, but I had him go out and catch some jugs for punt return and kickoff return. So he went outdoors with some special teams guys. In the back fields there, I guess, just to do some of those. I think he can bring a lot to the table. I knew we were getting a really good receiver. Obviously, he was very productive, but the thing he does when he's got the ball in his hand is special. I mean, you guys saw how he's built. He's got he's got legs like a linebacker. He runs like a receiver. And the things he can do with the ball in his hand is the most impressive thing. He runs great routes. I mean, coaches were impressed with the route running and the soft hands and his ball skills, but then he's got the element on special teams, and you don't really draft return guys, but when you look at what he can do on the field as a receiver, and then what he can also do in your return game, that was a surprise to me, and I think it'll be a surprise to a lot of NFL teams, is what he can do with the ball in his hand. Because is he maybe as slippery as a McLeod with with Pittsburgh Steelers? No, but he's hard to get down because he's a running back with receiver skills.
Pat, how do you think Jalen projects best in terms of where on an offensive or on a defensive line, and within what system you think?
It's hard to say. I mean, I know talking to him a couple weeks ago, he was working with a 3-4 guy. I think he's a 4-3 defensive tackle. That's in our system, that's what I think he is. Could he be a 3-4 4 technique? Probably. Is he going to be a nose tackle in the NFL? I don't know. I don't know if he wants to get that big. I mean, there's some of those guys. He's not Saragusa, but Tony was a little bit bigger, a space eater in there. So I don't know as much about the 3-4 and what you want in that defense as I know in the 4-3. But there's a lot of things he can do. The thing about Jalen, he's so smart that he will master whatever they put him at. But he'll get drafted by the team. You know, we'll find out if he goes to a 4-3 or a 3-4 team. And the thing about even the 3-4 teams, the 3-4 teams in the NFL, they're a 3-4 usually on, against, 2 back, 2 tight end teams. And as soon as they spread it out, they're going to the 4 down like we are in our base. Okay. So I think, we're kind of different. We go to the 3-4 on 3rd down, and again, it's really not a 3-4 by numbers it is, but as far as, the style and what we're trying to get out of it, it isn't. But I think he can do a lot of different things. And the thing is, he'll master whatever they want him to do. And someone's going to draft a great football player, an incredible person, regardless. I mean, that's their decision to make where he's going to fit. But I think he's a 4-3 defensive tackle.
How do you see Jones and Weaver transitioning to outside linebacker?
Well, I think both of them can do that. They both stood up and played a little bit of linebacker. If you flipped on that Florida State game, so both of them can be 4-3 defensive ends. Both of them could be 3-4 edge rushers and probably designated rushers because of their pass rush ability. Both of them have the ability to be able to drop in coverage. Both are smart enough, very intelligent guys to be able to drop and understand where they're supposed to be. They'll study that part of the game, which they haven't had extensive knowledge in that. But, people would be crazy to drop either one of those guys off very often because they got to go hit the guy that's probably the most important player on the football team is that quarterback. And those guys are pass rush specialists.
Is 40 bench reps the most you've seen in person?
Yeah, I almost fell asleep watching them all. There's so many of them. It's like, is this thing almost over? Jalen he loves the bench now. He loves that bench press. And that was, I don't know what's the NFL record. I don't even know. I mean, it's got to be.
I think 49 is the NFL record.
All right, who did that?
I don't know.
But it's hard. I bet you there hadn't been 5 guys in the last 10 years get in the 40s. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't watch. I really don't care much about the bench press myself, but I know I only did I think I did 22, I think. Okay, put that in the record. Jerry, don't tweet that out. I'm just kidding. I did not. Okay, you'll go back and check the record. Jerry will tweet that stuff out. But 40 was, that's amazing, and he obviously got real excited about it too. Anything else?
Stephen Pye, Oregon State, 49.
49. Oh, you're Mr. Google over there.
All good.
Anything else? All right, guys. Hey, I about had enough of this Zoom stuff. I'd like to see all of you in person very, very soon. Okay, I'm doing whatever I can do. I'll come up and hug everybody because I'll be so happy to see you guys live here soon. So appreciate your time. Appreciate your interest in our players, and hail to Pitt.